For those unfamiliar, Park Street is an importer, exporter, distributor, and back office provider for wines and spirits brands across the globe. We work with thousands of entrepreneurs to help scale and grow their businesses. And we run this stage and Park Street University because we believe in the power of education and that the more resources emerging brands have, the better their chances are of longevity. During this seminar, each presenter has roughly 10 minutes for a presentation on their given topic within the session topic. And then we'll bring them all back on stage to give you a chance to ask any follow-up questions. Don't worry about taking pictures of the slides. We'll be recording the sessions and we'll happily provide replay footage as well as the presentations after the show. You'll see a number of QR codes floating around the room. You can scan those and receive the replays through those. So this seminar is all about category trends shaping alcohol in 2024, specifically about the trends driving category growth, including changing consumer demographics, shifting drinking habits, and the influence of cocktail culture. Here with me today are Jonas Schenke, co-founder and managing director of MySCL Spirits, a young and upcoming tequila brand from Berlin. He'll be discussing tequila in Europe. We also have Lorcan, global marketing manager of Maison Ferrand. He oversees Maison Ferrand's incredible array of liquids for how they look, smell, sound, feel, and taste. He'll be discussing the rum category. And we also have Benjamin Scheuerer, CEO of Artwork. He has 15 plus years of experience in various marketing and sales positions in the beverage industry, including time at Jägermeister and Zamora. He'll be discussing trends in brandy and cognac. And without further ado, please enjoy.
Thank you. Hi everyone, great to see you all. I hope you're enjoying the show so far. Thanks a lot for the invitation to the whole Park Street University team. Great honor being here and sharing our perspective about tequila in Europe. Yeah, that's me. I co-founded MySCL Tequila together with my best friends in 2020. Since then we worked on reshaping the image of tequila in Europe. And I feel that puts me in a good spot to share some insights on how the category is developing and has developed over the last couple of years on the continents. I have a couple of slides and I prepared some stats and numbers. So I just kind of flip through, you don't have to memorize all the numbers. It's not only tequila, you can kind of like use tequila as a proxy for mezcal as well, or agave spirits in general. They have a similar trajectory, but the numbers that I'm going to show you now, they focus on tequila, but have in mind that a similar trend is evident for the wider agave spirits category. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Before we go into the details, just a very quick distinction. When we speak about tequila, there's basically two major differences in quality. One is mixto tequila, so a tequila where at least 51% of the sugars come from blue Weber agave, and then you have 100% agave tequila, which is the more premium version of it. And this distinction between mixto and 100% agave is quite important because it serves as a proxy for quality and different quality groups. Before we look at Europe, let's have a quick glance over the ponds and see what's happening in the USA. So essentially, tequila has been a booming spirits category in the US for the last couple of years. We've seen 10% annual growth, and as you can see, the red part, that's 100% agave, so that's the more premium section of the market, while mixto tequila has flat lines, growing from 80 million liters to now close to 90 million liters. 100% agave has more than tripled in volumes, and thanks to this premiumization trend in the US, tequila is now, or like agave spirits are now the second highest grossing spirits category in the States. So very impressive dynamics in the US markets. Here in Europe, the picture is somewhat different. Until 2020, until the pandemic hit, the market has basically been not seen any growth and has been flatlining. Then we saw a major uptick during the COVID years. Those numbers, however, you have to take with caution. So those are export statistics from the Mexican tequila authorities. They give you data how much tequila is being shipped into each European country. However, they cannot track if, say, we as a German company, we import into Germany and afterwards sell to Denmark. That's kind of like out of the scope of the tequila authorities. So those are prime destination countries. And with Europe, we mean in this context the largest 5 economies: Germany, the UK, France, Italy, and Spain. So to summarize, nothing has happened until 2020. The market has been flatlining. Then we saw some good increases during COVID, and the 2024 run rate suggests that a bit of normalization takes place. But then again, a lot of wholesalers and importers just tried to fill their warehouses during the pandemic years. And now this is more of a stabilization, but on an elevated level. And important to highlight, the mixto category still dominates. And 100% agave, so the premium tequila doesn't play as much of a role yet. So why is that? We've seen 2024 run rate exports into the US are exceeding 330 million liters. At the same time, there's around 336 million people living in the States, which gives you a per capita consumption of 1 liter of tequila per person. In Europe, it's quite different. We're at 25 million liters at a similar population size, which gives you not even 0.1 liter per person. So in essence, per capita consumption in the US is 13 times higher compared to Europe. And a couple of reasons for that, of course. So firstly, in the US you have a strong Hispanic community that's been shaping the drinking culture for decades. Like the margarita is a classic in almost all the American bars. Then, also very important, Mexico is a top holiday destination for US citizens. And there again, they're exposed to good tequila and they get to know the culture as well. And thirdly, you've seen a growing celebrity involvement, who then kind of promote the tequila on their Instagram social channels and also open up new customer groups. So for instance, when Kendall Jenner posts about her tequila, she reaches customer groups that maybe have not been affiliated with spirits consumption before. On the other hand, here in Europe, we've seen that low quality still dominates and people just don't get the good stuff to try. And there's also a lack of drinking culture. Like tequila cocktails and long drinks don't play as much of a role, which is luckily changing. But still, the dominant form of consumption is a shot with salt and lime. So still has this image of a party spirit. And there's some weird stereotypes floating around about agave spirits in general, or tequila specifically. People expect you to have a worm inside the bottle and all those odd questions. So it's just, to summarize, the big problem in Europe, it's a lack of education and the lack of availability of good tequila. But at the same time, when you look at it and you see that the US is already at 13 times per capita consumption, that also gives you an understanding for what's possible in Europe if kind of like the market picks up and you see a similar dynamic that what can be witnessed in the States. So going further into Europe, tequila has been on the rise in the US for a couple of years now, and of course the big brands, they want to internationalize, so they're now coming to the continent and with their marketing budgets try to increase awareness, which ultimately should translate into demand. But the speed of adaptation varies a lot across different markets. So Germany is somewhat lagging behind and the mixto share is still exceeding 90%. Other markets like the UK and Italy are doing much better, where 100% agave has already reached 70%. Again, this is destination countries, right? So say you have Espolon tequila, which belongs to the Campari group, chances are they bring a lot of their liquid into Italy first and then distribute it across Europe. So those numbers can be a bit diluted because of those effects, but in general gives you a very good understanding for where the different countries stand in terms of adaptation and what needs to happen for tequila to really pick up. It's essentially a customer journey going from mixology to retail as we see it. Mixology bars serve as an entry point. There you have educated bar staff that can talk about tequila, and it's also an environment where people, customers are willing to experiment with new cocktails, with new spirits, and the combination should lead to better awareness of 100% agave as a quality that exists. And then secondly, there should be broader adaptation or broader usage in the hospitality sector as overall. So you say you have the Paloma emerging as a signature drink that's popular like in outside coffees and restaurants. So these kind of crowd pleasers should help to reach broader audiences, and a growing number of consumers should have positive experiences with tequila drinks. Thirdly, those people then try to drink tequila at home, and their specialty stores serve as the primary point of sale for people to get a good tequila assortment or agave spirits assortment. And then largely, once the trend really materializes, all the supermarkets and broader retail chains pick up and should also improve or like stock up their portfolio. And this is not a sequence, but more of a feedback loop, right? So people start drinking it, then Paloma emerges, you have it in the supermarkets, people drink it at home, then there's more demand in the bars again, so it should be a self-enforcing effect here. And just to give you an example where we currently stand in Germany, those are off-trade sales figures. So vodka and liquors and semi-bitters like Jägermeister are leading, and tequila ranks somewhere between Raki and Caraway with less than 0.5% in market share in terms of bottles sold. So it's the category overall, it's not really existing yet, or it only plays a niche role. But again, it just gives you an impression for how much is possible if those trends start to materialize in Europe. To summarize it up, and then I think my time is up anyway, tequila is booming in the USA. Here in Europe we still are only at a fraction of the per capita consumption, but there's massive growth potential across those different European markets, and there's the industry makes good efforts to internationalize the success that we've witnessed in the States. And as you saw, the trend is slowly reaching European shores, with Italy and the UK leading the way. But in general, more education is still needed to not only build awareness, but then ultimately also increase demands. And the on-trade should serve as an entry point where people change their perception about tequila for the first time and get in touch with 100% agave. And then finally, as the product offering improves overall, there should also be more home consumption, and the tequila trend should continue in people's living rooms. That's it from me. Just some quick remarks about us. We try to have a very innovative approach on tequila with 3 exciting qualities that you're very happy to try. You will find us right at the entrance of the Palais at the right side. So after the session, after the Q&A, feel free to stop by and sip some tequila and try some tequila for yourself. Thanks a lot.
Hi everyone, how are you? Does anyone want to take a guess at how old that photo is? And how many kilos ago it was as well? Because it's about 10 to 15 kilos ago. I'm trying, but my mum likes it, so I like using that one instead. Lovely to meet all of you. Thank you very much for coming to join us. My name is Lorcan O'Duffy. I'm the Global Marketing Manager at Maison Ferrand, which is a very mouthy title for someone who just runs around a lot, getting to taste lots of delicious products. I feel very, very lucky to have fallen into this industry. I went off to university. No one in my family had ever gone, so I didn't really know what to expect. Someone I took quite a fancy to there told me to apply for a job with Red Bull, and 14 or so years later, here I am. So thank you for joining me. Now, I want to talk to you about premiumization in rum, but before we do that, to really help you understand the way that we look at this at Maison Fronde and the way that we go about it, is to really take you through what Maison Fronde is. And Maison Fronde, to put it collectively, is a bunch of misfits on a mission. I'm a global marketing manager at Maison Fronde, the only global marketing manager there is. I probably wouldn't be a global marketing manager at Campari, at Pernod Ricard, at LVMH, because I wouldn't fit in with the culture at all. We're very, very fortunate at Maison Fronde that we're encouraged to be who we are and what we want to be, and be as creative as we can be as possible, because we love coming up with ideas. Because for me, the ideas that come from within are what lead the trends. You don't follow the trends, you create them yourself instead. Be that terrible haircuts, silly moustaches in East London, which you then take to Paris, which no one else quite saying on board with, or wearing shorts throughout the winter, which I do really encourage. I've worn these to be polite today. I despise trousers. They are horrible things. But when I talk about the misfits that there are, we're a collection of misfits all across the world. We're led by that man there on the bottom left, Alexandre Gabriel, who, when I first moved to Paris to join the company, was actually my housemate for the first month and a half. I was told that there was a house that I could go and stay in. They didn't tell me it was his house when he was there, and it was just after Christmas and his family was still there as well. Very, very awkward for the first couple of weeks, but we get on very well now. Not been invited back since I found my flat in Paris, but I think that's fine. We still work together, so it's good. But we're spread out all across the world. Our heart, our core is down in Cognac. We have an office in Paris, we have an office in Bordeaux, we have offices just south of Boston, but we've also got distilleries, which is in the Caribbean as well, which I won't lie is a lovely perk of the job, getting to go there. The flights are a bit painful, but the creative juices do get flowing when you can hang out with your colleague Juliette in the sugarcane fields that's there. You can be inspired by what's coming, you can see what you want to develop from all of it. And what we want to do is develop as many things as possible, be as creative as possible, try things, test things, see what works, but from that, build a community that we love being a part of. It's why I love coming to shows like this, because this is a community that I love being a part of. There's people like Lewis at the very back who I've seen turning up, who I don't get to see that often because I don't live in London anymore, but now I get to see him and it's delightful. And I'll see you in about 6 months' time, and that'll be quite nice. But that's what we like doing, that's what we like creating from it, and from that, from seeing Lewis, I'll think of a product that he's working on at an incredible company, Dropworks. You should give them a look, they're doing some amazing stuff up there. You get a look at it, you see, he's doing incredible spiced rum. We're making some beautiful spiced rum products as well. Right now I've got ideas that I'm thinking of what I can do. Funnily enough, spiced rum is a trend which is developing quite well. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But for us, when it comes to anything, we like to focus on 3 things. Firstly, it is education. That is Angelique, my director, who's there looking very studious, studying something. The photo wasn't posed in any way, she generally was looking. We combine that with tasting, with sharing, because from tasting you understand what the product is like, where you want it to go. You give that product to a bartender, they know in their head from the flavour profile where they can take it. You don't give a bartender a set of cocktail serves or a set of this is how you've got to serve it. You give them the liquid, they can create it for you. They do that job for you. You make a good enough product, they'll know what to do with it. Pilgrimage. Travelling to the place. That's what it's about. This is at Long Pond in Jamaica. I'm very lucky to have been able to go to it a couple of times. If you haven't gone, I encourage you to go. It's filthy, but it's quality at the same time. That's where the essence comes from. That's where the creativity comes from. All the people there working day in, day out on those stills, creating a liquid that we're then able to use to turn into a blend for something else. That's what we love doing. It's those pillars that we build everything we do at Maison Fronde on. We look at it, and if it doesn't fit one of these pillars, or one of those pillars isn't being supported by it, we don't do it, because it doesn't mean anything to us. And we hold ourselves to those mantras, and it's what we do with my team, my directors do it with me. It's what we always want to look at for doing it. And there are lots of you in the room that I've never met before. I've got no idea what you're doing. You may be wanting to build a brand, you may be wanting to expand a brand. But I would say to you, look at what it is that you want to do with it, have those metrics that you look at, have those pillars that you look at. Look at the outside influences, look at what's coming in, but find something like that to really do it. Someone taught me that a very long time ago, and it's really, really served me well in everything I've done since then. But it's those things that make you question sometimes why you do stuff. Because the thing is, no one ever asked for a gin made with pickles. No one ever asked for another coconut rum. And no one ever asked for another rum made with pineapples. But you've got some of our best performing products in the world up there. Is there a trend that came out 10 years ago saying, ladies and gentlemen, you want to put pickles in your gin if you want to achieve high growth rate? No. But someone had the idea, I like pickles, I like gin. And what does that do? That gives us a chance to talk to bartenders, talk to buyers, talk to people about our products, remind them of other products that are coming in as well, and just talk about what it is that we love to do, which is to create, to share, and to do all of that. Now, I don't mean this to sound as preachy as it sounds, but I do love this industry. It's been the only industry I've ever known, apart from scaffolding for my family, and they're quite different. If you look at making drinks and putting up scaffolding outside buildings, I know which one I'd rather do at Christmas time, because scaffold poles freeze together an awful lot. But it's having this in the back of your mind when you come to look at trends, when you come to look at what it is that you want to do, that can really steer your gut. Because your gut already knows what it wants to do. So if you believe in it, just go ahead and do it. Oh yeah, but we made it. That was about as meant to come on to after that. But rum is premium. Can I just get by a quick show of hands, who here is based in the German market? Actually, not that many of you. The airport duty-free is going to do very well after the back of this. But when we talk about premium, premium for me is something which can mean many, many things to many, many different people. Premium in terms of the way someone dresses, premium in terms of the product that someone has. But premium when it comes to spirits has a very, very defined definition when you're looking at the data that we can use, which, edit, just in case we have to take it out. But when you're looking at ISWR data and you're talking about premium, super premium, ultra premium, you're very much talking about a price point. Which for me personally doesn't work. Doesn't work for me within a marketing role, because premium at $22.50 up to $29.99 for one person, that could be super premium for them, depending on where they are at that stage. So when you're talking about these numbers, look at the price point that's there, but premium, if more than anything, is a feeling. It is a vibe, as sick inside as that makes it. But that is what you want to be looking at. So when you're talking about rum premiumizing, on paper, yes, it is. When we then jump back to these products, those two rums on the right sit around $41. That's pretty bloody premium overall. So when we talk about rum premiumizing, it is. But it's premiumizing because the consumer is getting more educated about what goes into it. The thing I find really interesting about the three products and such, which are up here, because we're going to hear from a lovely Brandy just afterwards as well, is they're all products that actually take a while to grow and produce. They're things where they really take an essence from the soil that comes in there as well. To me, I find that super interesting, that lots of the products that we're seeing which are really rising up are coming from that side, and it's very, very exciting. Hopefully cognac gets a bit more of a rise sometime soon as well. I mean, you do make a nice cognac at the same time. But if I was to ask you about the premium and up segment, and you had to guess what the volume and value was in terms of a percentage, so of the entire rum thing, when we look at premium and up, so ultra premium, super premium, all of those, can anyone guess what the percentage volume is? And if it is nearly 6 o'clock at a trade show and you've all been able to drink since 11 and no one is shouting out, I'm very disappointed in you guys. Any guesses? Oh, come on, just give me a number.
15.
50 or 50?
15.
15. Ah, don't go for 50. 20? Any other numbers? Because you're wildly off at the moment. 3%. 3% is bloody tiny. That is literally 97% off. But there's a lot of headroom for growth. We can see that. We're seeing that an awful lot. We're seeing that in retailers. We're seeing that in the on-trade. The on-trade has moved from being dominated by white spirits and such. We're seeing a lot more dark spirits coming in. People want more variety on their shelf. They want more variety on their back bar as well. Now, does anyone want to guess what percentage of value that 3% equates to?
60.
Oh, I wish. 80. 13%. So it makes up a large portion that is there. That, for me, is a really positive sign as a producer. That, to me, would be a very positive sign as a retailer as well. That's the kind of thing that I look at, and I can see a lot of excitement moving forward. But to help support those numbers, it comes back to, I put too many bills in this. This bit here. It is about educating people on it. It's about getting them to taste it, and it's giving them that opportunity to visit it. And not everyone is going to be able to visit it, but what you can do is you can take an element of that with you. You can bring a little slice of the Caribbean with you. Wherever we go, whenever we do a tasting, we try to bring that element of Barbados or Jamaica. When we do it with our cognac, we try to bring an element of Chateau de Bourbonnais with us as well. That's what we really want to do. For me, it's the emotional side of these things that really convince someone to pay that extra 5, 10, 15 euro on a product. Euro, dollar, sterling. Insert whichever one you want to use. Because when it comes to who is driving this, it's not necessarily us, but it's consumers. They're the people that take it off the shelf. They're the people that look at it, that see it. Maybe they see a shelf talker. Maybe they see an award that's on there from the thousands of awards that are available. Maybe they've seen something online. They've had a targeted ad that has gone there. It is the consumer that takes it off the shelf. That's who you've got to be appealing to every single time. But there is a slight issue with the consumer. You've got to get through the gatekeeper first. You've got to get through the buyer. Maybe there are some buyers in the room. If there are, I love you very much. Please continue to pick up our products. There will be the head bartender. There will be the F&B manager that will see the product, will know the product, will know the provenance that goes in it, will know the care and admiration that the entire team does. But when they're looking at it on their budget sheet, and there's one where they're going to be making an extra 10 cents on each serve that's there, have you done enough to convince them that that's the product that they should be having in there? They're very important to remember. Because if you've not won them over, your chance to speak to the consumer is very limited. You can have your own retail element, but that's still going to be very small. So it doesn't matter what trends are there, it doesn't matter what your gut feel is in that sense. If you've not won those people over, you're not getting through that door. But you can also ignore the trends. Because if you're you, as horrendously cringe as that does sound, you can create your own trends. No one asked us for a pineapple rum. No one asked us for another coconut rum. No one asked us for a gin with pickles. But they're some of our top performing products, and they're some of the products that we're most recognized for now. And they're the things that when we go into a room with someone and we want to have a conversation, those are the products that we can put down on the table, and it opens up the floor to everything else. It's very important to not just follow what everyone else is doing, but create what you want to create, because that's what separates you from the other people who are there. We have a policy that whenever we're looking to create a new product, to design a bit of packaging, a bit of POS, pins, if we can put another bottle on it, or another brand's logo on it, and it doesn't look out of place, it's not different enough. It's not maison forme enough. There's no singularity between it. That's what we really want to focus on. So you can see where the trends go, you can get an inkling for it, but you've got to make sure it is your product that's on it. Otherwise, everything will just look exactly the same and be very, very dull for everyone. You don't have to force it. You can wait, you can see, and those gaps within the market will appear. Those gaps are the ones that then you can, and I say exploit in the nicest possible way, those are the ones you can exploit. That's where you can push through. That's where you've got something which really resonates with a bartender, with a group, with a buyer. Then you open yourself up to so much more that is all there. And that's pretty much that. Thanks, guys.
Hello everybody, my name is Benjamin Scheuerer. I'm co-founder of Artwork Organic Brandy here in Germany, and I really like the sentence of Luke here. So get ahead of the trends by being you. I think that's the right expression for us, what we're doing at Artwork. So don't do the regular stuff, do the interesting stuff. That's how it is. Yeah, nowadays, we come to this point later on, why we are doing it. So, let's start with our presentation. The right direction is like this. Okay, let's go for it. To my person, I'm now almost 18 years in the industry. So I started with Jägermeister, I did the business development there, portfolio management, so several positions, also duty free. So I had several positions there, so I'm marketing director Zamora, Quaranta in the race, maybe some people know. It's one of the biggest and hottest brands at the moment out there in the world. And now I'm doing brandy. And we talk about today about a forgotten category in Europe, because everybody talking about gin, rum, tequila. That's how it is. That's the trendy stuff. I do the untrendy stuff. Yeah? But that's how it works. So we are seeing a trend going forward for regional, sustainable, premium drinks. That are the big industry trends, and there are also brandy and cognac fits in. So we don't talk about today about China or the US, because there the brands are already big and trendy. We talk about Europe, also presentation long. So what is at the moment the situation in Europe? Brandy and cognac have a long history of global spirits industry. Market is facing competition from other trendy products, and there's an importance of revitalization and category to attract new consumers, because the consumers in Europe are dying, which are usually at the brandy market. So they're getting too old. That's how it is. And you see at the moment, brandy is a forgotten category in Europe. You see the biggest markets worldwide for brandy. Some new ones which you did not expect, like India, Philippines. They have their local stuff, the cheap local stuff where they're using it. Then of course United States, Russia, Brazil. There's also Germany on. Even they have only 80 million people, but they're still on. And you see on the bottom how big is the market. So the top 10 countries do 138 million 9-liter cases. It's 80% of the whole total volume what's out there in the market of 172,000 9-liter cases. So we talk about value stuff, we talk about premium stuff here in these figures. But if you're talking about the global one, you said, in rum is it 3%, which is premium and above. In brandy, you see it's 8.5. So there is even more premiumization already there. But you see completely different countries here. You don't see India, you don't see Philippines. You see United States by far, what's the biggest one? China, Russia, and there's also Italy, Germany, South Africa has a big brandy culture. There is still brandy. But what I want to say here, if you are entrepreneur, if you are importer, then it makes sense to look on one category, which is maybe not so much in fashion at the moment, but has still potential and is big to get reinvented. And going forward, for example, Germany has a great brandy market. For example, gin is 3 times bigger. Brandy is 3 times bigger than gin. And you see here, and what's the reason for? We have a long wine history, and of course brandy is big. It's the same you see also for the UK. There is also number 5 or 4 category in the UK, but it's not so premiumized. So gin is getting premiumized over less than 15 years, and the brandy itself is still a lot of value stuff. And you see here what is interesting for you. If you're importer, if you are a bar, then you see what is growing. It's not the brandy market itself is going down, but what is growing over the last years, it's the super premium stuff. So the premiumization also takes place in the brandy, in the cognac section, in many countries in Europe. And what you see here compared to gin, of course, there is a premiumization also going on, but it's comparable going forward. So the challenging today is consumer base is getting older, it's traditional audience, and you have the perception of old-fashioned. So you have the drink itself, cognac, brandy is old-fashioned stuff, what to think about. But if you have limited innovation over the last 15 years, oh, that's what's coming out. And how you can break this? Yeah, there are several options of the importers, of the producers out there to do the innovations there and to make it more trendy. You can go for premiumization. You can take care about health consciousness, so getting lower of the ABV. You can care about sustainability and craft production. And here are some examples how they take care about it. So for example, you know, of course, Hennessy. They do it each year. Another premium one, another limited edition going forward. And of course, this helps them to cover all the current customers, but they don't attract new customers with something like this. Going forward, of course, new customers coming in, the trend going to low ABV all over the world, and how they want to compete with this. For example, Remy is doing that in order to offer smaller tastes or different taste strategy and different signature drinks going forward. Then, of course, going for sustainability and craftsmanship. That's where Artworks comes into place. There are some organic brands out there who are doing new varieties, new stuff, innovation of production process, like we are doing. For example, we do vacuum distillation to make it more fruity, more suitable to the younger generation. And that's the case here. Going forward, you have to make up your ideas and, of course, bring something new, innovative, which comes to the trends in the market, which is, of course, sustainability, premiumization, health consciousness, and, of course, craftsmanship and regional production always have a right to take the market. And, for example, in the UK, here, maybe Burnt Face is one of the best examples, growing strong over the last years in the UK, and they are doing the small batch craftsmanship out of London. And these are brands who are more or less under the radar, but they are getting really movement going forward, and over the next year we see also coming more brands in. For example, in Germany, over the last 4 years when we started, we were the first one, and suddenly each year 2-3 new players comes in, which of course helps us in order to shape or reshape the industry. And that's definitely the point going forward, to bring new people in, because the business are competition, and competition makes it more attractive for the consumers. So the conclusion itself, revitalization requires balance between tradition and innovation, and embrace new customer trends. So be more fancy, be more risky, getting stuff more in order to have to losing the heritage. Yeah? And in this time you have to balance the heritage together with the market trends going forward. And the key success is innovation, marketing, adapting, and changing demographics going forward, because we have to attract new people. The young guys have to go back to the brandy market, and of course it's worth to do it in order to bring the big category to a next level. So thank you very much. If you want to join our new way and have a taste at Artwerk, come to our stand at A1863, so in the Jägermeister Hall. So let's have a look, and maybe you can try one of our brandies. Thank you very much.
Thank you to our speakers. We'll now open it up for a Q&A. If you guys want to come on stage. Anyone have any questions for our speakers?
What about a
Don't be shy.
Yes.
Ei tässä tullut mitään muuta.
Anyone? No? Yeah.
Miten tuo tätä trendiä?
When talking about premiumization, did you guys adjust that for inflation, or what did you guys do with that?
I hand that over to one of you.
Of course, it's something you've always got to factor in that's in there, but no one could factor in a global pandemic when we were looking at the numbers, and the numbers stay the same on there because inflation impacts everyone in the same way. Relatively in the same way. It's something that you can factor in to there. Again, I said it earlier, I don't always agree with those numbers and how they are. It makes it's very easy to do it, but market to market is very, very different. Germany as a market compared to France next door, the price point doesn't make sense. We have a product that's on shelf in both, but the difference in euros is nearly 25 euros difference. And they're just right next door to each other. So you've kind of got to look at it from a market by market spread. The data that we get from those big boys just there is handy to give you an overall spread, but it also doesn't make sense for looking at it from a European model because a euro is not the same as a dollar. And what a dollar earns you in New York or in, say, Alabama is very different to what a euro will earn you in Paris or in Limoges in France. So use it as a guide, but don't let it steer it too much from what you're looking at on there. You will be able to work out where it goes.
You always have to say, okay, to see where you're coming from. You have an established business, and of course inflation will hit you. And I haven't an established business. I'm getting my source of business off the premium market, so I pick people you already buy the rum, and I get it. And I get it. So for me, 2022, for example, inflation doesn't bother me itself because I get new people in and I have always new business. Of course, it's getting harder, but in the end, if you have a good working stream, then you put people on, and it's for a different story for you or for me in this case. Next one.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No? All right, another round of applause for our speakers. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Saiko se tuolla järjestelmää toiseen? Joo. Alle 20. Padre asuu. Eli missä? Tekillä Padre asuu.